Hello, peace be upon you. So today I am going to talk about is a learner, whether that is an adult learner or whether that is a child learner. Special emphasis, what is the meaning of adult learner? What is andragogy? What is pedagogy? Is there a difference between these two terms or not? There is some confusion which exists in literature, and that is going to be rectified if we know the history, how these words were coined. So learning, it's an art and science, or only art or it's science. I think teaching and learning both have a component of science and art. Science is based on experimental facts. So teaching and learning now is also based on scientific facts which have been derived from experiments done related to learning. You see, there are two terms. One is andragogy and the other is pedagogy. In order to understand the meaning of these words, if you look at the roots from where these words were derived, as we know, andra means man. So Greek meaning is man leading. Obviously, leading himself towards learning or to others. Peda, Greek meaning is child, so it is child leading. In fact, this term andragogy first came into use by Malcolm Knowles. He used this word, although this word previously used also, but you can say he made this word popular. So, andragogy is art and science of adult learning. So, by this contrast, the pedagogy should be art and science of learning or art of science of child learning. But as you can read, it is the art and science of learning. Possibly, if you go to history, much of the studies which were carried out on learning, they were done initially on animals and later on the children who used to go to schools. That observation, those experiments, or the conclusion which was drawn by observing how the children learn, that became the basics of educational psychology. So therefore, some people started using the word pedagogy, art and science of child learning. But in fact, it is more commonly the art and science of learning is the meaning which is attributed to pedagogy at present times. In fact, to take it further, supposedly it is equivalent to term andragogy. So therefore, in normal use of language, when we are talking the words andragogy, adult learning, pedagogy, we are referring to same thing, that is art and science of learning, unless and until the previous meaning which was ascribed to them is specified. A very, very famous sculpture by Rodin. You are today attending this video lesson. Did you, this thought came to your mind? Why should I join this lesson? And why should I see it on a YouTube, an online lesson? I am responsible for my decision and consequences. Whatever my decision is to join this online video lesson, and whatever its consequences are, on me or the people around it. I am responsible for that. And I will learn without anyone telling me, okay, you go and you must do this thing. No, no. I will learn without anyone telling me. Then I have experience which I value. Obviously, I have experience. And that experience has translated in transformation of learning into me by the information which I got during my life. Others should respect my experience and I will make use of them during my experience. It means whatever experience you have, whatever learning you have on your own constructing in yourself pertaining to adult learning or learning, that you are making use of as you are attending and listening to this lesson. I'm ready to join this lesson because it will help me deal with my current situation more effectively. So if you are attending this lecture with this thought, okay, this will help you to deal with your current situation more effectively. This thought has come to you when you started or when you went to the YouTube and clicked to see this lesson. I will learn to the extent that it will help me in performing tasks. Okay, I am listening this video lesson, but I am going to learn actually the amount of information that is given in this task that will help me performing my task. And if it does not, then I am not going to see it again. I have joined this lesson because I want to. I am internally motivated. Well, if these thoughts came to your mind, the more strongly they came, the more you thought about them, more you have developed the characteristics of learning which develop in a person as he matures in age. So have a change with time as a learner. Possibly exactly one day Malcolm Knowles was sitting like this statue and thinking an answer to this. And when he observed he has changed, then he applied science onto it. He observed the people, did a logical reasoning, and then he came up with 5 assumptions. Famously known as Knowles' 5 assumptions of adult learners. As a person matures, his or her self-concept moves from one of being a dependent personality towards one of being a self-directed, a self-regulated human being. So as the age passes, the self-concept, the concept of the person about himself changes to self-directed and self-regulated from a dependent personality. The reservoir of experience accumulates. Obviously, more life one passes, the more experience he has, the more information he gets, more that he translates that information into learning and becomes an increasing resource for learning. So that is an increasing resource for learning for that person. The readiness to learn becomes oriented increasingly to the developmental task of his or her social roles. So readiness of learn is thing which he can apply. He becomes more pragmatic, more practical. So he wants to learn those things which he can apply, then theoretical things which do not be translated, which cannot be translated, in his life, in his tasks. Time perspective changes from one of postponed application of knowledge to immediacy of application. As a result, his or her orientation towards learning shifts to one of subject-centeredness to one of problem-centeredness. He wants to solve the problems as he faces in the life. So he wants to have information, he wants to have knowledge which can help him to solve the problems as he is facing. Motivation to learn is internal motivation. He is internally motivated to learn. Well, these things have implication on that person also. And you might have realized that as the age passes, there are certain characteristics which develop in a learner as his mature ages. He becomes practical and result oriented. So therefore, he resents studying or learning theory without application. That point we have also brought into the awareness when we were discussing the lesson previously. He is less open-minded because he has more knowledge. He is more resistant to change. Maturity and profound life experiences usually lead to rigidity. Have you noticed? It is more difficult. The people who have age to change their opinions, to change their beliefs, to change what they think. This is possibly one of the reasons. He becomes a deep learner. He wants to know the depth of the information so that he can understand it. Not only he can understand it, he can apply the same information in different settings to solve the problem. Invest more time in learning to acquire more integrative and pragmatic knowledge. Not only this thing, if you see his conscious competence learning model, which came in 1970, initially a learner is unconsciously incompetent, then he becomes consciously incompetent, meaning by he becomes aware of what he does not know. That thing has come into his awareness. Once it's come to his awareness, then he becomes consciously competent and he knows, now I know the information which is required. And after that, he becomes unconsciously competent. As he learns them more and more, the things becomes automatic or they are automated in his brain. Frequent tests with corrective feedback that helps to move from this stage to this stage to this stage. Now, as the age matures, the person develops more ability to become truthful to oneself, to do self-assessment, and become consciously incompetent of the things which he does not know, which he wants to know, that may help him to solve his immediate problems, to solve his tasks, to solve his needs. And then he is going to learn by self-directed learning, self-regulated learning, to become consciously competent. I hope this video lesson helps you in understanding adult learning, pedagogy, andragogy, a little historical perspective, Knowles' 5 assumptions about adult learner, and few of its practical implications. See you in the next lesson. Have a good time. Continue always smiling. Bye bye.